Power is never given. It is taken. This is the first and most brutal truth of the game. No one, no institution, no mentor or monarch will ever hand you real power on a silver plate. They may offer you positions, titles, or honors, but these are illusions unless you possess the means to seize control behind the curtain. True power is not inherited or bestowed. It is claimed, often in silence, through strategy, patience, and calculated aggression. Those who sit back and wait for an opportunity to be handed to them will grow old staring at closed doors. Look through history's mirror, and you will see the pattern. Napoleon did not ask for permission to crown himself emperor. He took the crown from the Pope's hands and placed it on his own head. It was a symbolic act, but one that echoed across centuries. In that moment, he demonstrated that he owed no authority to any higher force. He was power. He embodied it. And power, when embodied, is not something others give. It is something they are forced to recognize. The meek inherit nothing. If you wish to possess influence, command, or legacy, you must learn to move through the world like a sculptor with a chisel, carving space for yourself, shaping perceptions, taking hold of that which others are too hesitant to touch. Waiting is the graveyard of ambition. Those who hesitate out of politeness or fear of offense will be left in the dust by those who dare. This is not about brute force. This is about bold action wrapped in charm, ruthless strategy clothed in elegance. You do not take power with noise. You take it in silence, through positioning, timing, and manipulation of the currents around you. Power does not reside in the spotlight. It lives in the shadows, behind the throne, beneath the surface. It begins with control over yourself, your emotions, your reactions, your appearance. Once you master that, you begin to influence the room, then the building, then the world around you. Every small win, every gained advantage, is another stone in the fortress of your own making. But you must move like a hunter, discreet, unrelenting, and patient. Wait for the moment others grow complacent, when they become drunk on comfort, distracted by victory. That is when you take what they thought was theirs. You will encounter those who will label your ambition dangerous, who will claim the power should be earned through goodness or humility. Understand that these voices are part of the control mechanism meant to pacify the masses. Power has never belonged to the virtuous. It belongs to those who understand how the world moves and learn to bend it to their will. They build alliances not out of loyalty, but out of necessity. They show respect, not because it is deserved, but because it buys time. Everything is currency. Every smile, every silence, every betrayal, calculated moves on the board. The world respects the taker because the taker reshapes reality. You may not be the strongest, the richest, or the loudest, but if you are the most deliberate, the most disciplined, the most willing to strike when others flinch, you will rise. And once you rise, never look back. Those beneath will plead for favors, for mercy, for fairness, but you owe them nothing. You did what they could not. You acted, you took. Appear weak when you are strong. This is not cowardice, nor is it surrender. It is a tactic, a mask worn with purpose. In a world where strength provokes resistance and confidence invites sabotage, the wise learn early that power is more dangerous when it is invisible. When your true capabilities are concealed behind a facade of frailty or innocence, you disarm your rivals. They become comfortable, even arrogant, thinking they have the upper hand, and in that comfort, they reveal their flaws, lower their guard, and expose the soft parts of their armor. To appear weak is to low. It is to turn the predator's eyes away from you, to make yourself unthreatening, forgettable, underestimated. This is the cloak that allows the strategist to move freely while others fight over visibility. The more people think you are incapable, the more they will speak freely around you, the more they will show you their hands without hesitation. Information, after all, is the lifeblood of control. Let them believe you are naive. Let them laugh at your ignorance. Every insult they throw at you in mockery becomes a stepping stone in your silent ascent. The illusion of weakness is especially potent in conflict. If your enemy believes you are too weak to pose a threat, they will delay their strikes, miscalculate their force, and stretch themselves thin in arrogance. Wars have been lost not by the weaker army, but by the stronger one who believed victory was certain. History is littered with the corpses of generals who misjudged a foe that seemed harmless. A wolf in sheep's clothing is only dangerous if it can hide its teeth until the moment they sink in. The key is control. Control over your image, over how others perceive you. Let your accomplishments be attributed to luck. Let your influence be mistaken for coincidence. Hide your ambition behind clumsy laughter. Show hesitation where you feel certainty. This is how you buy time, how you misdirect attention. The moment you allow your power to be fully seen, it becomes a target. But when power is veiled, when it operates beneath the surface, it cannot be struck. It cannot even be tracked. Do not confuse this with passivity. You are not standing still. You are positioning. Think of the serpent, coiled and unmoving. not because it is afraid, but because it is choosing the perfect time to strike. Power is patient. The art is in restraint. Most people are desperate to be recognized, desperate to prove themselves. Let them chase the spotlight while you build your empire in the dark. By the time they realize what you've built, it will be too late for them to stop it. In conversation, act uncertain when you know the answer. Ask questions you already know. Seek advice you do not need. Let others feel superior. Let them believe they are guiding you. The more powerful they feel in your presence, the more they will expose themselves. They will hand you the very tools with which you will later dismantle them. This is not deception for its own sake. It is strategy. Every display of weakness is an investment in future control. Every act of humility is a silent power grab. The danger of revealing strength too early is that it triggers insecurity. People will unite to bring down the strong, even if they do not admit it to themselves. But no one fears the weak, and those who are not feared are not watched closely. This gives you space to grow unnoticed, to maneuver without resistance. You must learn to live behind the mask, to master the subtle art of letting others believe they are winning. In truth, they are marching exactly where you lead them, unaware that the trap was set long before the game began. Control the narrative. It is not enough to act with precision. You must also shape how your actions are perceived. In the arena of power, reality matters far less than perception. What people believe happened often becomes more influential than what actually did. The one who controls the story controls the outcome. When you hold the pen, you write the roles, the villains, the heroes, the victims, and the ending. The truth becomes whatever you need it to be. History is not written by the strongest, but by those who survive and then shape the memory. Emperors fell because their enemies outmaneuvered them in reputation, not in battle. A well-crafted lie, repeated and well-timed, can ruin an empire faster than an army. If you do not seize control of the story being told about you, someone else will, and they will never write you in as the victor. This is why silence is dangerous, unless it is deliberate. You must always be the one whispering in the ears of the crowd, guiding how they interpret what they see, think, and feel. To control the narrative, you must first control your image. Every word you say, every reaction you offer, every flaw you reveal must be curated. Be aware. People are always watching, always interpreting. If you appear indecisive once, they will call you weak. If you admit to uncertainty, they will mark you as unworthy. But if you move with conviction, even in error, they will often follow. It is not about being perfect. It is about being convinced. Language is your weapon. A single phrase, repeated often enough, becomes a truth in the minds of the masses. Give your enemies names that stick. Plant doubts that grow in silence. Craft reputations for yourself that are impossible to challenge without appearing envious or petty. Learn the rhythm of rumor, the timing of suggestion. Subtlety is key. The most effective manipulation comes not from lies, but from selective truths, from reshaping context to suit your purpose. When faced with scandal, never respond in defense. A defensive tone smells of guilt. Instead, reframe, shift the focus. Tell a better story. People crave drama, redemption, betrayal, triumph. Feed them a version where you are not the villain but the misunderstood rebel, the necessary force, the one who had to make hard choices for a greater good. Wrap your ruthlessness in nobility. Let them feel admiration, even as they suspect duplicity. The contradiction will freeze their judgment. If others attempt to write your narrative, do not contest them head-on. Redirect. Starve their stories of oxygen by creating a more compelling one. They can speak, but make sure no one is listening. Attention is the currency, and you must spend it wisely. Elevate yourself through myth, legacy, symbolism. The most powerful figures in history were not always the most capable, but they were masters at branding their every step as destiny. Control the narrative, not just for others, but for yourself. The stories you tell in your own mind shape your confidence, your posture, your ambition. Tell yourself you were meant to rise, that you were never weak, only waiting. That setbacks are chapters in a grand design. When you believe your own myth, it becomes easier to live it. Others sense that certainty, and they begin to echo it. Belief spreads like fire when fed with confidence and control. Remember that every space you enter is a stage. Your clothes, your words, your silences, your exits, they all communicate something. Make sure the message is never accidental. Build your legend piece by piece. Correct others subtly when they misinterpret you, but never argue. Guide interpretation rather than enforce it. You are not simply living, you are directing. You are not merely seen, you are being read, analyzed, absorbed. So give them a script they can't resist believing. Dependency is domination. The one who holds the leash never needs to raise their voice. True power is not always in command, it is in control. When others need you, when they cannot move without your permission or prosper without your presence, you own them, whether they admit it or not. Power does not always scream. Sometimes it simply withholds. When people become reliant on your knowledge, your resources, your access, you become the access, and the more they depend on you, the less likely they are to defy you. The art lies in creating need without making it obvious. If your influence is too overt, it can provoke rebellion. But if your usefulness is woven into their success, they will guard you like a secret. Make yourself essential, not just valuable. A valuable person can be replaced, but the essential one cannot be removed without everything collapsing. You must become the silent cornerstone of their comfort, their progress, their reputation. Feed them enough to grow, but not enough to walk alone. This is how empires are built, not only by conquest, but by entanglement. You don't need to defeat someone to own them. You simply have to become their oxygen. Let them take credit for success that was only possible through you. Let them bask in sunlight that you positioned. The more they rise by your design, the more their fall becomes your choice. People will chain themselves willingly if they believe it is for their benefit. They will call it alliance, friendship, mentorship. But the strings are still yours to pull. Study the ones above you and beneath. Who are they leaning on? What are they missing? Where do they feel insecure? Fill that void and you begin to shape their decisions without ever making a demand. If they need your advice, they must listen. If they need your resources, they must cooperate. If they need your silence, they must obey. And if you are clever, they will never even realize how thoroughly you've arranged their dependence. In personal relationships, the same rule applies. Be generous with your time, your wisdom, your comfort, but never without purpose. The more someone relies on you emotionally, intellectually, or financially, the more they begin to orbit your presence. And the key is balance. Give just enough. Too much, and they may outgrow you. Too little, and they may look elsewhere. Power lies in precision. Your role is not to enslave, it is to anchor. Make them feel steady in your shadow, and they will not want to leave it. Watch how the world responds to power. People are drawn not to the loudest, but to the one who offers what cannot be easily found. Become rare. Specialize. Be the one who provides the thing they didn't know they couldn't live without. The most powerful individuals are those who created systems of reliance that made their removal unthinkable. They are not fear. Fear fades, breeds resentment. But need makes loyalty feel voluntary, even noble. Let others believe they are in charge. Give them the illusion of independence. Meanwhile, you build the scaffolding of their every move, the artist behind the curtain, the architect of their choices. Do not overreach. Dependency is ruined by desperation. You are the quiet center, the indispensable element. Withhold occasionally to remind them. Be just distant enough that they remember what absence feels like. When they come running back, they will cling tighter, trust deeper, obey quicker. You won't need to issue threats or raise stakes. Their dependence will do the work for you. Crush your enemy entirely. Half measures are invitations for revenge. Mercy may feel noble in the moment, but it breeds danger in the shadows. An enemy left standing is an enemy still breathing, still plotting, still waiting for the weakness in your armor. The instincts of self-preservation, pride, and vengeance do not die easily. They fester in silence, feeding on humiliation and time. What you spare today may return tomorrow with sharper teeth and no warning. When the decision is made to destroy, it must be absolute, final, unforgiving. This is not cruelty. It is necessity. In the game of power, there is no room for sentiment when dealing with those who threaten your position, your influence, or your survival. History is littered with the corpses of rulers and leaders who showed mercy at the wrong moment. They believed they could tame the beast with kindness, that an enemy humiliated would become an ally. But humiliation is poison. It stains pride and festers into obsession. An enemy who has tasted your dominance will never forget it. If they walk away, they do so not in peace, but in silence, biding time for the moment to strike back when your back is turned. Crushing your enemy does not always mean physical destruction. Often, it is psychological, reputational, strategic. You must remove their influence, strip away their allies, expose their weaknesses so thoroughly that they cannot rebuild. Take away their ability to move, to speak, to breathe in the space where you hold court. Leave them no option but surrender or retreat into irrelevance. And do so with such finality that no one else dares to challenge you the same way. Make your example a warning. You cannot afford to be emotional. Rage makes the sword sloppy. Your strategy must be cold and deliberate. Study them. Know their patterns, their habits, their blind spots. Strike not when they expect it, but when they are resting in false security. Make them feel safe. Then remove the floor beneath them. Make them confident, then shatter that confidence in front of their audience. The more public the fall, the deeper the wound. The more decisive the blow, the less likely others are to avenge them. Some enemies wear smiles. Strip them of their illusion. Drag their mask into the light and shatter it. Do not seek applause for your ruthlessness. Power does not require validation. If others call you cruel, let them. If they call you cold, nod quietly. These are the voices of the weak, of those who would be conquered by hesitation. You are not here to be loved. You are here to last. And lasting requires eliminating the risks that wait behind smiling faces and temporary truces. Sometimes the greatest threat comes not from an individual, but from an idea, a belief, a movement, a rumor. If it endangers your position, you must erase it from the roots, not silence it. Obliterate it. Control the narrative, discredit the source, make the very mention of it a mark of foolishness. If something can challenge your power, it must not be managed. It must be destroyed completely. Because power is a fortress, and a fortress cannot afford to leave even one crack unattended. Master the art of absence. Presence is powerful, but absence is unforgettable. The more you are seen, the more you become familiar. The more familiar you become, the more you are taken for granted. It is not always what is present that commands attention. It is what is missing. The most intoxicating force is not constant availability, but when you learn to disappear at the right time, to withdraw just as desire peaks or expectation builds, you leave behind a void that only you can fill. That void becomes your strongest presence. People grow bored with what they have too often. They grow careless with what is always within reach. This is the curse of constancy. The powerful know how to vanish with intention, to withdraw before their image dulls, to become myth rather than memory. A leader who is always speaking eventually loses impact. A figure constantly available breeds complacency in followers and fearlessness in rival. But the one who knows when to step away becomes larger in their absence than in their presence. Their silence becomes a statement. Their distance becomes a mystery. And mystery feeds fascination. Absence is not retreat. It is refinement. It is strategy. You remove yourself not to hide, but to enhance. Like a valuable painting displayed only on rare occasions, your worth multiplies when it is no longer taken for granted. You must learn to walk away before they ask you to. Leave the room when the applause is loudest. Step back when the eyes are still washing. Let them wonder why you left, where you went, and when you will return. That wonder becomes loyalty. That longing becomes leverage. There is power in contrast. When you reappear after being gone, your presence feels new again. Your voice cuts sharper. Your words weigh more. Time away allows you to regenerate intrigue. While others burn themselves out seeking constant relevance, you remain in the shadows, gathering strength, building anticipation, preparing to return with force. This cycle of presence and absence is the rhythm of dominance. Show up, leave your mark, and then disappear before the echo fades.